Wow! The Super Bowl of all interviews is done now. It's out. Tucker Carlson interviews Russian President Vladimir Putin. Have you seen it yet? So many amazing things went down. There were a couple of great whoppers in there. Love him or hate him or any of these two guys, you deserve to know the truth. The truth, right? Or at least to hear both sides of the story, right? Here is what happened.
I talked to him before the special military operation, of course. And I said to him then, by the way, I believe that you are making a huge mistake of historic proportions by supporting everything that is happening there in Ukraine by pushing Russia away. I told him repeatedly, by the way.
Now, that's what Putin said to Biden, US President Biden, just before the war in Ukraine began, right? Why is he calling this a grave mistake that US is doing by supposedly, according to him, pushing Russia into this war? Well, that's because some American geniuses decades ago have predicted this exact scenario that US is gonna eventually push the three countries together, which is Russia, China, and Iran. And that's the worst scenario you want to be in. The genius I speak of course, is Zbigniew Brzezinski, who was the national security advisor on, both Carter and the Nixon administrations. And he basically said that potentially the most dangerous scenario would be a grand coalition of China, Russia, and perhaps Iran. And yet that's exactly what this war has done right now. And he predicted this like decades ago. US has now pushed those three countries plus a bunch of other third world countries together into an alliance. But most importantly, from a finance perspective, what will this do to the US dollar and the world gold market?
To use the dollar as a tool of foreign policy struggle is one of the biggest strategic mistakes made by the US political leadership. The dollar is the cornerstone of the United States power, but they won't stop printing. What does the debt of $33 trillion tell us about? As soon as the political leadership decided to use the US dollar as a tool of political struggle, a blow was dealt to this American power.
Okay, what Putin's referring to there is that as soon as the war in Ukraine started, US sanctioned Russia on their US dollar reserves, right? Which is being held in Europe and in the US. So Russia, like a lot of these countries like Iran, like Afghanistan, can't get their money back from trading, can't get their US dollars back into their country from selling oil and natural gas. So now they're forced to turn to use the Chinese RMB. And that is causing a lot of countries to turn towards China. This is a new paradigm, folks.